to the editor. I've got nope, 2 over. Yep. So that's going to show you what's on the screen, and then you're going to hit the. Everything else now you can control from the
Okay, so are we on right now?
Yep, right now we are live.
Our mics are hot.
Our mics are hot. They can hear you.
Technical.
Good. Yeah.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's super. So, and it's, for all intents and purposes, this is when we could click mute on the mic. However,
seems like that would have been a good idea.
I don't care. It's kind of fun for people to be able to jump in and be like, what the hell's going on here?
Next time.
Yeah, but so now when you guys are ready to start, you hit your intro song, and then as the song is fading out, you click over to Showtime as the song fades out.
Okay, so let's do that. Welcome, everybody, to the first episode of Smash Cut. This is kind of the first episode, right?
Yeah, well...
Or is this like episode like 1/2? Like,
yeah, it's episode 1.5.
Like
yeah.
you do in comics, so it's like a half episode, which is like
yeah,
not quite a real one. Was like
well, I think the last one was not
issues.
quite. So this is, yeah.
Yeah, but nobody saw that real... That
well, there's
that was like
two horribly racist guys did.
Oh yeah, we did have a couple of... Well, we had a couple of like sex freaks in the chat room before. So
yeah, could have gone either way.
Well, welcome everybody. I'm Travis Hobson. This is John Nolan. We run a website called Punch Drunk Critics, based out of DC, and we've been doing that for about a decade.
That's scary.
It's been 10 years, right?
Yeah.
You know what's scary?
What's that?
Has nothing to do with movies at all. I was listening to Sirius XM last night, and Debbie Gibson was on there.
Oh yeah.
It's been 30 years since Electric Youth.
Oh. I still think we're alone now. But
30
no, that was
years
Tiffany.
ago.
Or was it Debbie Gibson?
I don't know. I don't remember. I get them all mixed up.
Yeah.
But 30 years though, we are kind of old.
Yeah.
But we are film critics out of the DC area. If you live in that area, you can find me on ABC7 and News Channel 8 and on WETA around town. John, you're on besides PDC.
For obvious reasons, they put me on the radio, not on TV. But 98.3 WSMD, Star FM. Friday mornings, you can catch me there. Yeah, I'm not quite as prolific as my man over here, but we're both somewhere.
Yeah, but you might have more free time than me too. So
yeah, absolutely.
So that's one thing. And we're here because we love to talk about movies, but we don't get to talk to each other about movies as much as we used to, as much as we like to. And I know me personally, I like to talk about movies with as many people as possible. I love talking movies. I have my own podcast that I do as well called Cinema Royale that I do, and I get to talk about movies. And that's just me running my mouth to whoever my guest is. But I'd like to, talk with you about movies all the time because we don't get the chance to do it. And this is a place for people where you can do that and share with you as well. People who are in the chat room can ask us questions, make comments, and as long as they're not, freaky kind of crazy, we'll probably respond to them.
Well, freaky kind of crazy. I guess it depends, but yeah.
You can respond to the freaks and the
no,
crazies.
you're running the board. That's not me.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing. I would sit there at times and think, man, it's kind of silly. I spend all this time talking about would Ant-Man go up Thanos' butt or something like that. But at the end of the day, this, talking about movies and the ridiculous minutia all day long. Why wouldn't he just go in his ear? It's far less dirty unless he doesn't use, Titan Q-tips and blow up his brain.
All right, but do deviants have the same human structure as we do? Would it even do anything if
That's
it
a good question.
Anyway?
You heard it here on Smash Cut. Does Thanos have a butthole?
You know what? Though they are offshoots of humanity, so yes, they probably
based
do.
in their image. Okay,
they probably do have buttholes.
We lost that family-friendly title within 10 seconds.
It didn't take long. But this has been a crazy week for movies already. This has been a busy week, and it's interesting that it's busy right now as we're leading up to Endgame.
Yeah.
because that's the movie that's on everybody's mind is Endgame right now, right?
Yeah.
And I feel kind of bad because there's a movie that's going to come out before that that's also really good. It's called Shazam.
Yes.
And I feel kind of bad that Shazam is kind of getting lost in the shuffle a little bit and it ain't even come out yet.
Well, it had the unfortunate, when they plan this stuff out, they put so much thought into when something's going to premiere, all the stuff around it. And I got to wonder why they didn't drop this early February, late January. It's not like they couldn't have had it ready, because now it's sandwiched in between Captain Marvel and Avengers Endgame. And there's a good chance it'll get missed. And this is really probably DC's biggest chance to break. They've shown they can do the standard superhero movies pretty good, or pretty awesome, really, with Wonder Woman and Aquaman. And now they have Shazam, which is something totally different. It almost feels like a throwback to the early 90s without being so ridiculous, where they were more fun. And it has a good chance of getting lost in the shuffle.
It's probably going to get lost. And I feel bad about that. And people have already been trying to down it a little bit,
Why?
Because there's always this ridiculous competition between DC and Marvel. There's always people trying to down the DC movies.
Yeah.
Trust me, there's no competition between DC and Marvel. Marvel is the WWE in this case right now, right? They're not worried about what they're doing over in DC Comics or the DC Extended Universe. They don't care. But they probably should, because 3 out of their last 4 movies have been pretty good.
Yeah.
For example, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and now Shazam. I believe they've begun to turn a corner. Now, Justice League, we can say that's a blip on the radar. That's also like the last vestiges of the Zack Snyder era. Right? Like that's over now. So now we have these 3 movies that have come out of the last 4 that don't have anything to do with that, and they've been the best movies that they've done.
Well, yeah, and it's really the good thing about DC. DC is going to come back, and you're going to see 10, 15, 20 years from now that they're going to be the ones that really showed that there was more than one way to do something. They may have tripped on the way there, but up until this point, you had Marvel knock out of the park.
Why did they trip, though?
Huh?
Why did they trip, though?
Well, I think they strayed too far from what the source material was with Batman killing people. And I'm not one to say they really tripped, because I loved Man of Steel. I thought Man of Steel was one of the best iterations of Superman. And Henry Cavill was as close as we're going to get to a Kryptonian in physical stature on this planet.
He's pretty damn near close to perfect, isn't he?
Yeah. Anybody that can cock their muscles in a fight in a Tom Cruise movie and look that cool with that mustache, But let's talk about the mustache. That's bad. No, it really gets into one of the big problems with DC movies that I can give you, and that's why I think Shazam is so important, is the CG. Every single I've talked endlessly about it. I don't understand how you can have $200 million for a movie, but then District 9 that had $20 million 10 years ago has better CG than you. Doomsday looked like my kid made him out of the Play-Doh that was left over in the thing. And all of Wonder Woman, one of the only things people said badly about it was the final act, the CG person. And their CG, when you have Marvel doing something where Tony Stark is literally 90% CG most of the time and you don't know it, and then you have DC comes in and every single special effects shot they have, you can kind of tell if it's a prominent shot. Shazam comes out, and what you guys are going to see is the 7 Deadly Sins are the main CGI villains of that movie. They look amazing. They look good. They look on par with Marvel. They don't look cartoony. They don't look clay-like. They look like legit CG characters.
It's a very good-looking movie, and I think you're right about a lot of that. I don't think they look great. I think they look good, though. I think they look good, but it's not overburdened with CGI.
No,
Shazam isn't. I feel like DC stumbled because they put too much faith in one man to run the entire vision. I don't think that's the way you do it nowadays, unless you're Marvel and you got Kevin Feige.
Well, yeah, and that's
but he's not the director. He's sort of the overseer.
Yeah,
and he's sort of the guy who's like, okay, this works with this. This can lead into this, and so forth and so forth. Zack Snyder's never shown that ability to do that. In the past.
He's an amazing visual filmmaker. That's
right.
About it.
He's a good guy to have direct your movie. I don't think he's the guy you put storytelling faith into.
Right.
The one time he did an original narrative, what did we get?
Sucker Punch.
We got Sucker Punch.
Yeah.
Sucker Punch was his one original narrative. Everything else he's done has been an adaptation of some kind. Dawn of the Dead, whatever. Watchmen. These have been adaptations. And he did well, I think, with Dawn of the Dead and with Watchmen. I think he did very well with both of those. I even think was it Legends of the Guardians is actually a pretty good movie too.
You know, we just rewatched that. We had watched it with my kids a couple
I
of
haven't
weeks
seen it
ago.
in a while, but I remember liking it.
It was really good. I mean, it was legit, and it was more of like an adult.
It's Star Wars with owls, right? Basically.
It's kind of.
It's basically Star Wars.
Yeah, you
with
could say
owls.
it's Star Wars with owls.
Yeah.
But I think DC's biggest issue was from the start of this new DCEU or whatever they're calling it, is they took the wrong lessons from Marvel. They took the lesson that you need to have one showrunner, which you don't. Not everybody's Kevin Feige. You took the lesson that you have to immediately build towards a group movie, which you don't. And that's what happened. Now that they're just kind of doing whatever and it's working, what they don't realize is that Marvel started 10 years ago, 11 years ago with Iron Man, with a character, with an actor everybody thought was done, with a character that most people outside of comics didn't understand, and they put a good story and a good director on it and got that one movie done. And then as they went on, they kept building. Yeah, they had a loose outline, but it wasn't the guarantee. It was like, okay, if this does well, if we do what we're supposed to do, we go here and then here and then here. But it wasn't like, this is going to go well, so we'll do this right away. And that's what it was. You know, that's part of the big reason.
Yeah, well, thank you. Hey, hashtag, yes, we are great. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. No, but no, yeah, thanks. No, but you're right though. And if you go back and you watch through those early Marvel movies, they're not all great.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said a million times before, I don't love the Marvel movies. It took me a long time before I found one that I really loved, and that was Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Mm-hmm. That was the first one that I loved, right? Like, it took that long for them to get there. It took all the way to Phase 2 for me to really love a Marvel movie. And now there have been a handful, that I love. I love Civil War. I love Thor Ragnarok. I love Infinity War. I love Black Panther. Like, I love these movies. Like, I could watch them over and over again.
I had a question for you, but what's the line between I like this movie and I love this movie? Like, what feeling are you talking about?
The movies from Marvel that I tend to love either have some real world some real world themes to them. Like Civil War deals with sort of the police state, sort of conspiracy theories, things like that. They have thriller aspects that I really get into.
Okay.
Infinity War, it's told from the perspective of the villain. I'm a guy who always roots for the villain. I know the villains are the best guys.
You are an evil bastard, yes.
Right, I am. I have a Decepticon tattoo on my shoulder for a reason. So I like that movie almost as much as I like any of them because of that. Black Panther has cultural things that I love about it. There are all these things about it that I don't find in, the first Captain America, or that I find in like the first couple of Thor movies or any of the Iron Man movies.
Right.
Like my favorite Iron Man movie is Iron Man 3. It's probably not most people's favorite Iron Man movie, but it's my favorite Iron Man movie because it feels like a Shane Black movie and not like a traditional Marvel movie. So that's kind of the way where I go on that. So the movies that I love from Marvel have specific things about them that stand out from the rest of Marvel. They've got 22 movies. It's okay to have only a few that you really love. And
it's almost good to have a few. To get philosophical, you can't have sunshine without the rain. So, like, you got to have some that have lower stakes and are a little bit lighter.
Oh my God!
You got to have the ones that are a little bit lighter. Like you have to have an Ant-Man, which is good and it stands on its own and it's funny. But if they're all dour and they're all end of the world, it's not going to be the same. That was kind of my issue. That was what
Warner Brothers had. That was their issue. Was that everything was grim, everything was dark, and that's Zack Snyder. Just this past week, when he talked, he at his it was a director's cut panel that he was on last weekend, where you can actually get the Snyder Cut, people, except it's a Snyder Cut of Sucker Punch. So enjoy that. Enjoy.
Well, I might actually enjoy that. If anybody doesn't remember the cast back then. Snyder is about half a step from Michael Bay when it comes to female actors. So who knows what that Snyder Cut has.
Yeah, but even there, he was talking about, fuck you if you don't like Batman.
Batman doesn't kill. What world are you living in?
And look, I'm perfectly fine with him having that perspective on superheroes. I think it's a perspective that makes sense. I think if superheroes did exist in this world, most of them probably would kill. Yeah. But
you'd have to, because why? Because every time you let the Joker get away and he kills somebody else, that death is on your hands because you didn't stop it when you could have.
Right. So, but my thing is, just don't do that with DC Comics heroes that have an established personality. That makes sense. That doesn't make sense to me. If you want to have that outlook on superheroes, that's great. Go do
something original.
Go do the Elite. Go direct The Boys or something.
Yeah.
Go do something from Garth Ennis.
Well, his argument falls apart in the argument itself because he's like, what world are you living in? Newsflash, Captain, these people aren't living in our universe. They're living in the DC universe.
Oh, yeah.
And,
he can make them any way he wants. He doesn't have to make them any way.
But you know what? He really, you got to have, this is, when everybody whined about Superman killing in Man of Steel, I thought I liked it too. And I thought it was a defining moment for Superman. He was choosing humans over Kryptonians. He was showing that he doesn't want to do it. But you have to have that push. It can't just be, I'm mowing down 47 henchmen in my Batmobile because they're standing in my way.
This is the argument that I always made about it. It's this Superman that we're seeing in Man of Steel. He doesn't just come out of the birthing chamber with this appreciation for life.
Right.
It doesn't just happen. He has to realize the consequences of his actions, and what he did had consequences. So the Superman that we saw in Man of Steel is not the same one that we get in Batman vs Superman. It's someone who has seen the consequences of what happened when he killed somebody in the first movie.
Exactly.
So that's what I saw it as. The fact that he killed is not the issue. It's what he does after that.
It's his first day on the job. Of course he's going to have some mistakes.
Does he turn into a murdering prick after that?
Nope.
Well, okay then. But that's not the Superman we know. Now he's the Superman we know. Mm-hmm. But something has to make him get there.
Yeah, I always wish I could, because anybody can say that a good movie is a good movie, a bad movie is a bad movie. But I really want like some person far smarter than me to do some kind of forgot the word when you test things. Examination, let's just call it.
This is why we want somebody far smarter than you.
I can't even remember the word. And it's still not there. I figured it would come back. Anyway, so to see why certain movies get panned so badly, like Green Lantern, okay, that was a bad movie. But there's movies out there, especially superhero movies, that objectively are the same as another one that's lauded as being amazing. But it's like on these lesser movies, or quote unquote lesser movies, every little thing is picked at, and on the ones they say are better, those things are all just forgotten about. Oh yeah, but they did this. I would love to see what it actually is that makes people like or dislike a movie, because I don't think it's always quality.
Do you have an example? Like examples?
I couldn't even remember the word for what I was trying to say. Of course I don't. No, I mean, Justice League for one. So yeah, the CG was bad, but there was a lot of things in there, and there was a lot of really good pieces. And then something like, of course I don't know, but like the opening scene in Justice League is, I think, the best theatrical Batman scene in theme that has been on screen.
I don't remember it anymore.
He's on the rooftop and he's chasing
down.
when
he's fighting the parademons.
Yeah, yeah, and the whole thing, like he's on the side. The everything was perfect about it.
Okay, I remember that now. I totally forgot so much about that movie now.
Yeah.
It's not even that it's an awful movie. It's just very bland.
Yeah.
And flavorless and has no personality. And that's what happens when you blend two directors' approaches.
Yeah.
You get something that is just a flavorless mess.
Yeah.
It's not a Zack Snyder movie. It's not a Joss Whedon movie. I would have it be a 100% Joss Whedon movie than be what it was. I'd even rather it be a 100% Zack Snyder movie than be what it was.
Right.
And I couldn't get into it the way I wanted to.
Well, there what you could tell, and now I wish I knew what pieces were Snyder, what pieces were Whedon. I know it kind of came out, but like the Superman that you see in the end, and this goes exactly what you were talking about earlier. The Superman you see at the end of Justice League, when they're fighting. I'm Memory Man apparently today. What's Steppenwolf? They're fighting Steppenwolf, and he's smiling, he's joking around when he's fighting, he's stopping to save the people. That's the Superman everybody's looking for in Man of Steel. But this is the progression. This is where he got, and that's who he is now. The fact that he got there from being reborn in a giant alien amniotic chamber and went bad, I could have done without. But
Hey, Corruptus the Chosen, to see you in the chat room. How you doing, man? You got a question for us? Or you want to keep talking? Or you got a comment?
Putting you on the spot.
It's a nice comment.
Yes.
But no, I feel you, man. And I don't know. I still hope that one day, because they're doing this route, they're taking this route now where they're kind of making everything more of a standalone film. That's like their approach that they're taking now. Wonder Woman 1984 is going to be kind of a standalone film. Mm-hmm. And then they got this whole separate brand with the Joker. And the Batman is supposedly going to be part of that too. I'm still amazed by the fact that we know as little as we do about the Batman.
I almost feel like
to start filming later this year.
Yeah,
and we still know so little about it.
Who's your choice for the Batman?
Who's my choice to play him?
Yeah.
Hell. So we're looking at a younger Batman, right?
Yeah.
Man, that's a good question.
You know, I'll jump with mine just because if anybody doesn't know, back in the mid 2000s,
don't name anybody from Supernatural. If you name somebody from Supernatural,
no, I won't. The Winchester brothers belong where they are. Travis has an irrational hate of everything.
I just want that show to be over.
You don't even watch it. What's the difference if it's on?
I know, but I shouldn't have to see commercials for it either. It should just be gone.
Okay. We will convert him one day. But
how you gonna convert me after the show's over?
Because it will always live. Wonderful legends don't die; they live on forever in the hearts.
It'll be on CW Seed forever.
Yes. No, it's on TBS 47 times a day. That's why it got so popular.
Really?
Yeah. It's funny because like at season 7 or so, see, I tricked you into talking about it. Season 7 or so, it started getting a lot more popular, and that's TBS started putting on literally a 4-hour block each day. So every working home mom and unemployed person was sitting there just watching it all day. Had to. But anyway,
Jason Hike 73. Thanks for following us.
Yeah, man. Thanks. So Justice League Mortal was a movie that.
That was the George Miller one.
Yeah, George Miller from Mad Max. In the mid 2000s. Mad Max. I need some water. There's some rust on that here.
Yes, Justice League Mortal. And who was going to play him in that?
Armie Hammer, who I think is still a great choice.
I thought he was going to play Green Lantern.
No, he was Common was up to play Green Lantern.
Shit, you're right.
DJ Catrona was going to play Superman, which I'm not sure about that one. And the other one I think they should have brought back, Adam Brody as the Flash. I think Ezra Miller's okay, but I've always really liked Adam Brody.
He's seen Adam Brody.
No, why not?
I don't know. Something about him I've never liked. There's no reason. It's just something about him I've never liked. Maybe it's because my first exposure to him was in the OC.
Yeah.
So that colored my judgment.
Yeah.
But whatever it was.
Well, I mean, really if you don't like him in the OC, you're not going to like him at all because he's the exact same person. He's like, yeah. So, but you know, I think Armie Hammer just looks like if you look up like white privilege in the dictionary, his picture's probably because he looks like that rich Connecticut prep school boy, but he also has something endearing about him that you don't immedially think he's an asshole. I forgot. I don't know yet if we can cuss on here or not. So a jerk,
it's Twitch. We can.
and you know he's obviously got a physicality to him. So I think he would
definitely got physicality to him. Mm-hmm. I was just watching him in the movie Hotel Mumbai, which came out this week.
Yeah,
and he doesn't actually do anything physical in that movie at all.
Yeah,
he's a hostage most of the movie, for the entire movie. So,
which you can imagine. Yeah.
No, that's a tough movie to watch, by the way.
Yeah.
Did you watch that one?
Yeah, okay, it is hard to watch.
It's hard to watch. Yeah, I don't know who my pick would be to play Batman at this point. I didn't like the Jake Gyllenhaal rumors.
No,
I didn't like that idea at all.
Oddly, he looks great as Mysterio, but I don't like him as. I was glad he never got the Spider-Man.
But you also
role.
don't have a defined idea of what Mysterio looks like other than the fishbowl head, do you?
That's true, but a lot of people could just look funny in that outfit. You know, when he has that big hero shot in the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer, he looks oddly at home in that suit.
I still wish they hadn't shown any trailers for Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah.
Until after Endgame.
Well, that's a good question. We're going to jump all over the place here.
I don't like it.
But I thought of something a while ago.
Whole show. The show's called Smash Cut.
Yeah.
We're Smash Cut through ideas and topics the entire time. There's not going to be. Look, this is the first time we've done this show. We've talked plenty of times together, and there's not going to be any rhyme or reason to a lot of this shit right here. We're going to talk about movies.
It should really be called Down the Rabbit Hole with Travis and John.
Yeah, but that might be a good idea. Maybe we can find a song called Down the Rabbit Hole or something. But that's the way it is, man. That's the way we do things, and we're going to jump right from topic to topic. But if you have questions or comments for us, post them in the chat room, and we'll be happy to answer them. We've been doing this a long time. Like I said, our site, punchdrunkcritics.com, has been around for a decade. We're very, very popular in the DC area, I would say.
Yeah.
Actually, you know, we've got some national cred. I'm in the Broadcast Film Critics Association, which is always fun. You're a member of WAFCA, the Washington DC Film Critics Association, as well as I am. So we've been doing this for a long time. We know what we're talking about, and we love movies. We love talking movies with people. And
he's so professional. You see how I did that station identification just perfectly.
Thank you, Shot Gal, for following us.
Yeah, and guys, if anybody in the chat room, if you have ideas, we're relying on you to jump in the conversation and let us know who you want for Batman. Or I want to hear people's thoughts on this. So you mentioned Spider-Man Far From Home trailer. It does. I mean, let's be honest. None of us thought that Black Panther, Spider-Man, or any of these people were going to stay there forever. But
which is why I've been amazed at the number of people, and I got into trouble for this week, by the way, and I need to cut you off. But I got into some trouble because people were really upset at the posters that showed that Shuri from Black Panther was dead.
Yeah,
you know, she had the grayscale poster, which means she's part of the dusted and people were really upset by it. Oh, you get fair treatment, and I was like, calm the fuck down.
Fair treatment? What do you mean?
Because she is one of the rare African American female characters who's of prominence.
Oh, okay.
So she gets kind of, dusted off panel. Nobody didn't even see her die.
Yeah.
So and I get that. But I was like, calm the fuck down, people. She's gonna be back.
Yeah.
Probably by the end of this movie. It's like just relax. Just relax.
Is there a need? What I'm getting to is there any need for Marvel to have released anything on Endgame?
They don't need to release
or
anything.
Spider-Man. There's no
need to do
for
anything
trailer.
but say, hey, Endgame's coming out on the 26th of April.
Yeah. A 30-second Twitch or YouTube ad that just says Endgame.
They didn't need to
20
do
seconds,
anything other than that first teaser they showed, which revealed nothing.
Right.
They could have stuck with that, and I actually kind of wish they did. And not that this latest trailer was bad; it was actually really good. It still didn't show anything.
Yeah.
It didn't show anything at all. So we still know nothing about the movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially considering they've admitted to putting out fake footage.
Yeah, I know that they trick us all the time with that crap. We learned more from the posters than we did from the teaser.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
we learned that Tessa Thompson's Valkyrie is still alive. Nobody knew that. Like we speculated that she might be, but we didn't know.
They did just take a lot of the minority characters and put them in random places in Infinity War without saying anything, didn't they? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they did. So no, it's like they don't need to do anything at all. Marvel does for most of their movies. Marvel does not need to do anything.
Right.
So for a movie like Spider-Man: Far From Home, don't put out anything until after Endgame. Let people wait. Let people think on it. Now, guys like you and me who are in this stuff all day, we know he ain't dead. We know Spider-Man's coming back.
Right.
But you've just put out this Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse with a completely different Spider-Man.
Love that movie.
Right? Yeah, me too. It's a great movie.
My kids have latched on it. It's their one of the month that they watch it literally every day. It's the first time I'm happy about what they've done.
I still need to get the Blu-ray. I haven't bought it yet.
It's amazing.
I'm slacking. But you just put out this movie. Your average person does not give a crap about which character is in which studio or who's where or what. You put out this Spider-Man animated movie that everybody loved and got nominated for and won an Oscar. Just sit on Far From Home for a while.
Yeah.
You can start putting trailers out for Far From Home in May.
Right. Yeah.
And people will be fine.
The movie's pre-sold.
Right.
By a lot. If anything, you'll get more people.
They're predicting an $800 million start.
I know, that's ridiculous. That's got to be every theater.
$800 million.
Every theater packed with every seat, every show, and some people that paid and are just sitting outside.
$800 million is about
it's just like the gross domestic product of half the countries in the world.
It's about 20 times more than what your average movie will ever make.
Yeah. And that's opening weekend.
Ridiculous.
And it's 3 hours of that. So that means that they can't fit as many screenings in. Because it's 3 hours, that cuts down the amount of screens they can have in one day, and it's still that's 800.
You know it's going to come out 2 days early in China. It comes out on the 24th.
Oh, awesome!
Which means for those 2 days, just don't read anything.
What's the science behind it? They started doing this a while ago, and they've started releasing movies, pre-releasing movies in countries that are notorious for getting things leaked. I mean, are you telling me that
China's not?
Leaks don't come from China all the time?
Well, I mean, leaks come from everywhere. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. For those 2 days, watch out. Because there'll be spoilers everywhere. But I don't know. I don't know what the rhyme or reason is to how they do these things. I know China is the second biggest market in the world, other than us.
Yeah.
Maybe the biggest. I'm not sure anymore.
But,
and Marvel's been kind of kowtowing to China for a while now. You remember when they did the Iron Man movies, they would have special cuts for China.
Oh yeah,
you know, so and they've done that for a lot of their movies at this point.
They really led the charge on film studios doing that. A lot of people. I mean, and it's nice the way they did it too, because it's never jarring. You'll have any of these movies that you see that has a very prominent Asian actor, Chinese actor that you haven't seen very much, and maybe they speak kind of like they obviously speak Chinese as a first language. It's usually like a deal that the studios do with Chinese distributors and Chinese theaters because obviously they don't want to go to a movie and see a bunch of Americans, just nothing to do with them. So like the scenes you see where there's a prominent scene in a Chinese city, or there's a prominent actor, maybe third bill that's Chinese, that's all part of that. And they've done it in a way that you don't notice. It's not like it's not like product placement where Captain America stops in the middle of a fight and says, "I need a drink," and drinks a Pepsi or something. It's something that's very seamlessly done in there. Works well. Here's my super soldier serum, Pepsi.
That should have be content.
Right.
She would do that.
Yeah.
No, but Yeah, Marvel doesn't need to sell anything anymore at this point. And you know, they've got 3 movies all within a span of a few months.
Captain Marvel, Endgame,
Captain Marvel, Endgame,
and
and Spider-Man: Far From Home. And after that, what do we got? We got the Joker. We got Joker comes out in October.
Is it October? Yeah, October.
Joker comes out in October. And what else is there after that, superhero-wise?
This year, there's nothing else Marvel that I can
That's
think
it,
of.
right? Well,
Yeah.
there's just those 3 Marvel movies. And after that, it's
And DC's just Shazam this year, as far as I know. What am I missing?
DC's Shazam. Wonder Woman's not until next year, I believe.
It was supposed to be this year, but now they pushed it to next year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
2020. Jesus, God help us all.
Yeah, no
But
no kidding.
yeah, I'm wondering about this Joker. That trailer they released, that was legit, right? Like it looked like a home video and
For what?
for Joker.
There's no Joker trailer.
Okay, so I saw this. This is why he runs most stuff, because I fall for it all. There's a trailer, and I knew it looked fake, but then I saw it covered a couple other places, and I was like, okay, but it just looked like a bunch of behind the scenes shots. But I still don't know what to think about that. I mean, in one hand, The Killing Joke was one of the best Batman graphic novels I've ever read. But you know, I don't know that you can make a whole story about his behind the scenes. And it sounds like they're not doing the multiple things; they're just doing the one.
Here's my thing. Here's the question I have about Joker. I'm interested in it because it has Joaquin Phoenix playing the Joker.
Right.
Does your average moviegoer care about the Joker free from Batman?
I think they will say they do, but they don't actually.
I don't think they do. I think you only, because most people, you only equate the Joker with Batman.
Right.
The only thing that, for most people, the only thing that makes the Joker interesting is his rivalry, his feud, his relation to Batman.
Which is ironic, because that was always one of the behind-the-scenes things in the pages of the comics too, where Joker would, you know, basically say, "You're nothing without me, and I'm nothing without you."
Right, it's true. I mean, for him especially, Batman has a million villains he can battle against that people have heard of. He doesn't need the Joker. The Joker really needs Batman. Joker doesn't have that. There's nobody else that the Joker's a rival with that matters. Like, he's fought other good guys before, of course.
Yeah, he really doesn't have that kind of cross promotion.
No, not really. So his main thing is Batman. I don't know if people are interested in the Joker without any kind of Batman in it. I don't know if I see that.
It'll be interesting to see for sure. But I mean, I've poo-pooed stuff before that ended up being pretty awesome. I mean, it all depends on what role they take it in.
The movie might be great.
Yeah. I mean, I have a feeling at the end of the day, it'll be just like, well, why don't we just call this something original and not call it Joker, because it'll just be about a serial killer or something like that. But I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. The fact that they've got the balls to do it makes me think there must have been something behind the script. But or maybe it's just you know, DC also tends to go polar opposites. I mean, they're like, okay, we want to go dark, we want to do a continued universe. So here's all your continued movies right in front. Or we're going to go different and separate. So we're going to do this completely different thing. And you know, hopefully that's not it. Hopefully they're you know, going behind things that have good writing. But I do want to see them continue to go down this role of, because I think nowadays a superhero movie isn't so much a genre in itself. It's more like an umbrella for other genres to sit under. Like, that's why I was so excited about the New Mutants. Like, superhero movie. Well, I know, but the idea of it, because you could have superhero movies and then have all the different genres of, you know, you could have a dramatic one, you could have action like your team up movies, you could have a horror movie that's a superhero movie like Brightburn coming up, and you know, all that kind of stuff. But I don't, you know, hopefully they go that way. You know, movies might not be that bad. We'll see.
You might not ever get to see it.
I know.
That's why I'm laughing.
They'll release it on DC.
That's why I'm laughing.
On DC Universe. Do you have DC Universe?
No, you mean the New Mutants in Marvel?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah,
they might release it on Disney Plus.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a rumor, but I mean, I don't have.
It can't be that bad. I mean, how does a movie become that bad?
I don't even know if we know. Well, okay, here's the thing: we don't know if it's bad or not.
Yeah.
The thing is, with New Mutants, which is a movie that's been in the works for a long time, it's been casted, it was shot, and the first show they put out, which was back in 2017.
Yeah,
folks.
that was like years ago.
It was 2017. Legit. It wasn't last year. It was in 2017 they put out the first show for New Mutants.
Right.
And it had this horror vibe that some people liked a lot.
Yeah.
Some people weren't really feeling it, but a lot of people liked it a lot. So what Fox decided to do was to go back and decide to do some reshoots, which is normal. And reshoots have become an ugly word in our business, but reshoots are normal on every movie, big or small.
Right.
They're going to do reshoots that are going to kind of pump up the horror aspects of it, which I think is a good idea, right?
Depending on how they handle that, but yeah.
They still haven't done those reshoots. They haven't done those reshoots yet.
So what?
That's the problem. And the problem is New Mutants fell into this very ugly limbo. So at the time, the Fox Disney deal was in the works, but it hadn't been finalized yet.
Right, because they fall into the X-Men, they belong to Fox type deal, right?
Right. So they fell into this really bad limbo where Fox was adding projects left and right, leading up to the finalization of the deal. But in the case of New Mutants, it kind of fell into this limbo where Fox didn't want to pump more money into a movie that they may no longer have anymore. Because unlike the other Fox properties, because 21st Century Fox still exists under Disney.
Right.
In fact, they're still going to be producing movies on their own still, under the Disney umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not going to be the case with like the New Mutants, the X-Men, or Fantastic Four. Those are going under Marvel Studios now. So they didn't want to pump a bunch of money into a movie that they were no longer going to have control over in a few months. And at the same time, now that the deal is finalized, Marvel's evaluating it. That's the word that was literally used days ago, evaluating it to decide whether or not they even want to push ahead with it. So it was in this space where one side couldn't really put money into it, and the other side is deciding whether or not they still want to.
Right.
So the movie's supposed to come out in August. Not that far away, people.
They haven't shot half of it.
And they still haven't done those reshoots they were supposed to do almost a year ago now. Right. So I don't know what to make of it. Now, the rumors where it might go to Hulu, which Marvel has now too, or Disney has now too, or it might go into Disney Plus. Yeah, it could end up either or. I kind of say, part of me wants to think that it's going to just be scrapped altogether, but that would be it wouldn't be Disney's money that got wasted. So they might be more inclined to be like, no, let's just dump it.
Because it will be their money that's wasted if they market it and then it does crappy. But I would love to see a legit, and like I mentioned before, Brightburn, maybe that's where it gets kicked off at, but a legit superhero horror movie. Like Morbius might go down that route. I don't have very
Morbius should go down that route.
Yeah.
The Spawn movie, next Spawn movie should.
You know what should go down that route, or at least have themes in that another movie that we're hearing is not getting good word is Dark Phoenix. Like the latest trailer they had when they're on that airplane, was it airplane or helicopter, whatever they were on,
they're probably
or
on
train.
They're probably on they weren't on the Blackbird. Okay.
No. Well, whatever it is, and they're all locked up. They were on a train, and then they're like, she's here, and the lights start flickering and things start flying out, and you see Jean Grey hovering above, or the Phoenix rather, hovering above the train, and all this shit going on around her. It looked legit, and they're just saying this thing is unwatchable.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of Dark Phoenix right now. I don't know anybody who has seen it or seen any cut of it. It does seem like it's not getting any good word of mouth from behind the scenes.
Right.
But they aren't pulling it, which makes me think it's probably not unwatchable.
Right. What was your take on Apocalypse? I mean, because that was
Apocalypse is damn near unwatchable.
Okay, so and you got to imagine that it's the same cast. It's probably going the same route.
No, but they had that cast before. That's not the point. That's not it.
Well, they did, but they weren't.
They've had that cast since X-Men First Class.
Not with the Jean Grey and Cyclops and all them.
Well, no, but the principles are the same.
Right. Yeah, but
Lawrence.
It was when the OG X-Men, as people are familiar with at least, came in. That it started to go down. But that's just Apocalypse, maybe it's coincidence.
But the principal characters are the same ones that have been there since First Class. I don't know, man. I just, it seems like that movie, it seems like Dark Phoenix is, I'm confused. I'm confused why they went that route with that story anyway. Mm-hmm. I know that Simon Kinberg wanted to fix what went wrong with X-Men The Last Stand. Mm-hmm. But are we just making this as some sort of, passion project for him?
Right.
Because there's really no need to go back down and tell the same Dark Phoenix story again. And I know they're telling it in a different way, but it's still the Dark Phoenix story, which we saw not that long ago. Yeah. It just doesn't. If you're not doing like a full reboot of something, then this doesn't make sense. There are certain iconic stories that shouldn't be told over and over again. It's like so fast.
Yeah.
Dark Phoenix Saga is one of them. You shouldn't do it.
There's 60 years of storylines in comics. Even if it's the best one, then you can go somewhere else and come back to it. I mean, I do think Sophie Turner looks great as Jean Grey. I don't know if I liked her performance as much as I would have hoped, but
I like Sophie Turner.
Oh, that's who else they were saying from Batman is what's his name that plays Cyclops in that Ty Sheridan. I just didn't get that. I didn't understand why he isn't
Batman.
Yeah,
Oh.
There was like 3 or 4 top 10 lists, and he was like 4 or 5 on most of them. I didn't get that. I loved Ready Player One, but you know.
What would you think of somebody like Garrett Hedlund?
If he's able to bring out something
I find
that I
him
haven't,
boring as hell, but I could see him as something.
It really depends on his Batman. Really, I mean, I could see him as
something. I don't know.
For me, he doesn't seem suave enough. He doesn't seem high class enough to be Bruce Wayne.
He plays a lot of
He seems like the dirty guy at the club that all the girls like because he's so dangerous looking type deal. I don't see him in that.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. Ugh.
What about?
I can't think of anybody who I'd want to play that role.
It's tough. I mean,
that's why I'm bad at fan casting.
Yeah,
because I never can think past like 1 or 2 people.
Yeah, my brain goes blank as soon as I try to think about the people that can sit there and rattle off lists off the top of their head. I'm in all of them because
those people watch too much TV. Also,
yeah, probably.
Because that's where most of these actors for most of these things come from in fan casting. It's like TV shows that I've never seen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They're not. I'm thinking strictly like in movies, but I don't watch much TV if that doesn't have like WWE wrestlers in it.
Yeah, that's true.
So my fan casting be like, yeah, man, let's have Batista play everything.
Yeah. Well, hey.
I was like,
he was awesome. I just watched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 the other day for the first time in a long time, and that movie's so great, and they are all so great in it.
Batista might be the best wrestling actor other than The Rock.
I think
ever.
So. Well, yeah. I mean,
it's a small group.
The Rock's not an actor though. He's got so much charisma that it comes on screen, but he is always the same person.
No, he's not. He's an actor.
You think so?
Yeah.
I mean,
he's an actor.
I think that's just him, and he's that awesome in real life. But Bautista, man,
he is awesome in real life. But I think he's proven himself to be pretty good.
What has he done? What has he done? Okay, so he was obviously Drax in Guardian of the Galaxy. He was in one scene in Blade Runner 2049.
Oh wait, are we talking about who's an awesome actor? The Rock or
I'm talking about Bautista now.
Okay, well, the Batista. Okay, have you seen Bushwick?
Nope.
You need to see Bushwick.
Bushwick. Okay.
Yeah, you need to see Bushwick, which is a movie in which the country gets invaded by a hostile country.
Right.
And it's him and
stupid face idea. I'm trying to write this down in my.
Him and Brittany Snow.
Oh, I'm watching it.
I knew as soon as I said Brittany Snow.
Yeah.
I knew as soon as I said Brittany Snow. What about John Cena? Hey, hashtag, what about John Cena? Ain't nobody forget John Cena. We just ain't. Nobody forgot John Cena.
John Cena, I will say he is the most surprising wrestling actor to me because.
And one of the nicest interviews we ever did.
Yeah. Oh, he was like genuinely a good guy. We got 20 minutes, maybe 15, 20 minutes with him. And in that 15, 20 minutes, he was
the worst interview I ever did.
Yeah.
But
no,
it was great.
Yeah, you weren't bad, but it was the most embarrassing picture I ever took later because you guys can't tell. Travis is kind of a built dude. John Cena's obviously one arm is as big as me. So we have this picture, if you're watching on the stream, we have this picture where Travis standing next to Cena looks about right, and then you see me and I'm like this. Standing like this, like obviously trying to pump myself up, and everybody that ever sees it calls me out on it, but it's all right. But he was so surprising in his humor, his ability to act comically. People underestimate how hard it is to be a comedic actor, the timing and everything like that. And he's just so good. He's fearless to do certain, like the butt chugging scene in Blockers. It's fearless to do things like this. And on top of that, you can't want anything but for this guy to win the world. If you are the all-time givingest person in the Make-A-Wish Foundation, you deserve everything you get. He's an amazing person.
He's one of my least favorite wrestlers of all time. That said, he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy. But
well,
I hated his character for all the years he's been in wrestling.
Did he just run that Eminem persona the whole time, or like?
He changed a lot.
Yeah.
He ran the Eminem persona, sort of Eminem persona, the
white rapper
persona. That was his first thing,
and
then he started the Marine.
Yeah,
and he became more of a patriotic guy. Started doing
that's when the salute came from.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the salute, all that kind of crap. Then he became sort of kind of a hybrid between a standard babyface and the Marine type guy.
Okay,
kind of a hybrid. And now lately he's just I'm the veteran guy. Which is really boring.
Best, The Rock excluded, best wrestler turned actor performance ever. Doesn't have to be best critically, but like most fun, best whatever.
Wow. I lean towards Roddy Piper and They Live.
Yeah.
I lean towards.
I came here to chew bubble gum and kick ass.
He's awesome in that. Yeah, that might be my favorite. wrestling.
You used to always say that Captain Lou Albano in the Cyndi Lauper video was your favorite. Is that still true?
Nope.
No?
Never was true. Never said that. You know what? Hey, hashtag you're right. Andre the Giant and the Princess Bride.
Oh,
The fact
yeah.
that we forgot
Anybody
that.
want a peanut? Yeah, that's...
I still might lean towards Roddy Piper, but Andre the Giant and the Princess Bride is pretty great.
I read something the other day that was talking about Andre on set.
Hulk Hogan and Thunder Lips.
Hulk Hogan is Thunder Lips. That's a good one. But Andre the Giant...
Hulk Hogan and No Holds Barred.
No Holds Barred. That was always one of my favorite movies.
Or
when I was
Hulk
like
Hogan
8.
and Santa with Muscles.
Thunder in Paradise, still one of my favorite Saturday morning shows.
Thunder in Paradise is one of the worst shows ever made.
Okay, I was 10 years old or so when it came out. They drove
made
a
that
super
show.
awesome stealth
They
boat.
made that show just to keep him happy.
I know, and it kept me happy too inside.
Oh, God, this is
The boat was awesome.
The boat was cool, but that was
I would be scared to watch it again because
it's on YouTube. Go ahead and watch it.
What's the one movie that you loved as a kid? I mean, obviously we all love these movies as a kid, and then you watch it when you're an adult. Some of them hold up, some absolutely don't. Mine is the Garbage Pail Kids movie. I used to, and My Pet Monster, which took me 3 months to find online to watch, and now I understand why.
Garbage Pail Kids movie was bad back then.
I didn't have good taste then either.
Oof, wow.
It's not something that grew. I always had bad taste.
Yeah. I think about a movie that doesn't hold up for me now. There's a lot of movies that don't hold up.
Right.
But I'm trying to think of a kids movie that doesn't hold up as well anymore. I never did think E.T. was that great.
No.
Honestly, nope. I still don't. It's fine. I think about watching it, I'd probably pick it apart even more.
You have to. You have to. I mean, because it's on such a high pedestal, you know?
Yeah. No, but in terms of, I think Roddy Piper for me is my favorite actor performance. But yeah, you need to watch Bushwick.
Yeah.
With Dave Bautista.
And
like I said,
I forgot to
hostile country invades. I think it's a city in New York, and basically it's in Bushwick. So basically, him and Brittany Snow are trying to get to not a safe house, but to safety, basically.
Right.
Trying to get through the city as it's like it descended into chaos.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw that
kind of like Red Dawnish, I guess.
It's very Red Dawnish. Only they're not really like a resistance force. They're just trying to survive.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a different role for him. Did you see Final Score?
No.
Final Score. Yeah, I see Final Score with Dave Bautista. That's a throwback movie.
Writing it down right here.
That's a throwback movie. Very 90s-esque action movie.
Oh, I'm in.
Yeah. He to me that was the role that convinced me that he could have been an awesome action star like in the 80s and 90s. Dave Bautista.
I mean, he's got a crazy charisma that I didn't think. Now, granted, my exposure to him while he was wrestling was somewhat limited, but I didn't feel like he exuded that charisma when he was a wrestler. And then he comes on screen, and really with Drax, when you see him kind of being a little more funny, and then you see him in other things you kind of pick up on as well. He really kind of broke out a little bit.
Hey, hashtag reminds me of a movie that I watched when I was younger that I didn't like, and that was that doesn't hold up, and it's Bill and Ted, which is interesting because Bill and Ted 3 just got announced, confirmed. Yeah. And while everybody else is excited for it, I'm just kind of like,
it seems ridiculous. But and, hey, hashtag, I had to say, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was his. I got to be honest, I haven't watched that since the early 90s. I haven't watched it again. I can imagine it doesn't hold, but I used to love the place in Disney World. I think it was either Disney World or Universal Studios that was like a restaurant that was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
I remember that.
Everything was huge.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I haven't seen Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Or the sequel. Was it Honey, I Shrunk the Kids 2?
Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves was one of them.
Maybe that's what it was. Rick Moranis quit acting after those movies. Too.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty admirable story. It wasn't because his wife passed away from cancer, and he was like, "Well, I guess I'm just going to take care of my kids."
Oh, yeah, that might have had more of an impact on.
So, I mean,
possibly
not that. I mean, he wasn't like the kind of movie star that had women throwing their hotel room keys at him and stuff like that. But still,
you don't know that. You actually don't know that.
That's true. I don't.
Yeah, you don't know that. He might have.
Yeah,
he might have. Just because he looked like Rick Moranis didn't mean he didn't. He didn't get his
work for Sigourney Weaver.
He didn't get his share.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he did. But probably easier to give up for that. So,
oh my God.
So we got Shazam next Friday.
What did you see this week? Did you see Dumbo?
Yeah.
Because we only got. I think you got to get out of here soon.
Yeah, we got about 5-10 minutes left, I'd say. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, about 5-10 minutes left. I'm pushing it.
Oh my God.
Mommy's birthday. I have to go.
She's gonna have another birthday.
We would hope.
They come around.
You're gonna feel really bad if she doesn't now.
No, I'll forget that I said this at all.
It's a good thing it's on
tape.
Dumbo.
Dumbo.
Real big miss as far as I'm concerned. I'm not in love with taking everything. I don't think anything is gained by making something live action anyway. I think a lot of the times the biggest problem with these movies comes in because they have to stretch it for another 20 to 30 minutes because most of the
But
animated movies.
Dumbo's only an hour long. The movie, the animated movie. It's only
Yeah, the animated movie, yeah, it's only an hour, and they have to stretch it to whatever feature length is going to be, 90, 120 minutes. So they end up putting in a side story that wasn't there, pisses off a lot of the people that were there for the original, magic or whatever, and it just doesn't work a lot of time. This one, I felt like every Disney movie, if you look at it, is depressing at the start. But Dumbo just felt like they took Tim Burton went in and just dug into the depressing aspects of it. They dug into the darker side of everything. And I would have just
it's a Tim Burton movie.
I know.
It's a Tim Burton movie more than it's a Disney movie. Now, I enjoyed Dumbo.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it while recognizing that this was not going to be your grandpa's Dumbo.
Right.
This was going to be a very different movie.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it because of the visuals in it. I thought the way that they did the CGI Dumbo was amazing.
Yeah.
He looks incredible. He's heartwarming. He's charming. Breaks your heart sometimes.
Yeah, he's probably
Loved it.
one of the most adorable CG characters ever made.
Yep.
And that's really where I had to point out that I drew a line there when I was talking about this movie on Friday, is that kids will still love the movie. I personally, I thought
I'm not so sure about.
The darkness of it brought in a little too much, but the scenes where Dumbo is flying, the scenes that are going around Dumbo and who he is in his journey, I thought were amazing, and they were magical. But I thought some of the other stuff out around it just kind of drug that down too much. Could have done just more happiness.
Yeah, I mean, this was, if you're a Tim Burton fan, you probably have more of an appreciation for it. This is like, Burton took the classic Dumbo story, changed the perspective. It's no longer seen from Dumbo's eyes. No more seen from his point of view. It's told from the point of view of the people around him. But it's a classic Tim Burton tale of the outsider who's kind of going against societal norms, which is what Dumbo is.
Right.
Tim Burton always celebrates the freaks and the outsiders, the oddities. That's kind of his thing. And that's what he turned this movie into. Mm-hmm. So if you're a Burton fan, like I said, you may have more of an appreciation of this movie than somebody who's too caught up in whether or not this is like the Dumbo they remember.
Right.
It's not the Dumbo you remember. So I had to kind of separate myself from that and be like, okay, this is clearly not going to be that. Can I like it on other terms? And I do like it on those terms, the Burton terms.
Right.
Right. So that's how I like it. I don't think it has staying power. In fact, it didn't do very well at the box office this week. It did 45 million domestic, 117 worldwide, which is not great. It's not even going to do what Mary Poppins Returns did a couple months ago, but it should do better than the Nutcracker did in December.
Yeah.
So it'll do better in November. So it should do better than that. But it's not. But it's definitely a disappointing start.
I have a feeling it's going to happen more and more and more, because especially as the comic book movies get more popular, I feel like a lot of, and this new generation is coming up with people that, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like people will take their kids to a comic book movie when they're younger than like our parents. I mean, my parents took me to R-rated movies when I was young, but a lot of people's parents would say, oh, not until you're 13. But I think, when Avengers Endgame comes out, it's got some pretty serious themes in it, but the 8-year-old kid is going to be completely left out of school if he doesn't see it. So he goes to see that. And a lot of people pick one movie a quarter, one movie a month, if that. So I feel like these non-comic movies, unless they're geared towards adults only, or like a drama, or they're really, really something special, are going to get left by the wayside. They have to be really something special to pull that box office money away from something like Endgame to go to Dumbo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're seeing. I think the only thing Disney really has to worry about.
Well, they own everything now, so they don't have to worry about anything.
They really don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
But they are starting to see diminishing returns on these films.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing they have to consider, because Dumbo is one of the most recognizable. I think it's kind of okay that the Nutcracker didn't do as well.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of expectations there were for it. I'm sure Disney had higher expectations than we did for it, but it didn't do that well. Mary Poppins Returns, $378 million is what it did worldwide, which doesn't sound like much.
Sad that doesn't sound like much nowadays, but yeah, it doesn't.
Anymore. But that's kind of on the low end.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't been that long since Beauty and the Beast made $1.2 billion, mind you.
Did it end up with $1.2 billion?
$1.2 billion.
Wow.
So it's only been a couple of years since that.
Yeah.
So they're obviously not hurting on any of these things, but they are starting to see a downward trend now. If that happens again with Aladdin, then it got problems.
Yeah,
I have a feeling that they won't have that problem with Aladdin or The Lion King. I have a feeling that both of those are going to do huge.
The Lion
Remember,
King,
the Jungle Book,
definitely.
I think, broke $1 billion too.
Yeah.
So I think you could see $1 billion out of both of those possibly.
You think so with Aladdin's? The Lion King, I have no question that it's
Both of
if
those
anything, it'll
are
probably be their biggest one ever.
Incredibly beloved.
I know, but Aladdin has. What do you think about Aladdin from what you've seen so far? Genie aside, well, I guess you can't really say Genie aside because Will Smith is just. The thing is, it's its own thing. I mean, when they did it in '93 or whatever, it wasn't an original story. It was taken off Arabian Nights and all that. So this is just another take on the story. But when you have a performance as iconic as Robin Williams as the genie, you can't. The best you can do is do something that's enough to ignore and have everything else be bright enough. But you put Will Smith in, it's obviously a different take. People are freaking out over it. I think if you judge it on its own merits, Will Smith is so freaking charismatic and he's good with that stuff, regardless of how cheesy it can be. But it's not going to happen. It's going to be compared to Robin Williams.
Of course it is.
You can't beat that.
Compared to Robin Williams, there's no other way it could be.
Right.
I don't know, man. The jury's out on Aladdin for me. I love the original.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure the story will still reflect the things I loved about it.
Yeah.
My biggest question mark is Guy Ritchie, who does not seem like the director for that movie.
Does not at all. Nope. Like, that's very strange. I mean, I would take like a Danny Boyle or somebody before Guy Ritchie because it needs to have that spectacle. It needs to have that huge thing. And Guy Ritchie is always about taking it down to the personal relationships. Maybe that's the idea, but I just cannot wait for the Prince Ali. I forget the name of the song itself. But the Prince Ali song when we're coming in to meet the princess and they have the elephants and all that stuff in the parade. It's going to be awesome. So. Yeah,
so I don't know. Jury's out on Aladdin.
Yeah, man.
All right, man. Well, you got to get ready to get out of here.
Yeah, I guess we better wrap it up for the first show. It's going to be we're going to try and do every week at 1:30. I guess we'll kind of fine tune when start time actually is, and have an hour or so with you guys closer to. Yeah,
somewhere between 1:30 and 2.
But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Hopefully, we can get more people in to talk to us on the chat and really get a community thing going here.
I appreciate those of you who did come in.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Those of you who followed us here on Twitch on Enemy Live channel here on Twitch.
Twitch.tv/Enemy Live.
Right. The channel's going to be growing with more content over the course of the next few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a little bit of everything. Movies, video games. I know I've got a video game show that's coming up here soon too as well. All sorts of different stuff. TV, gaming. We're going to be having live gaming tournaments
live
here.
strip poker with Travis on Friday night.
Y'all don't need to pay for that. They're gonna be so the channel's going to be a whole bunch of pop culture goodness is the way I look at it. At least that's the plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what, hey, we'll have our show here.
Yeah,
and we're gonna have fun with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and as we go on, like Travis said, this show is not is directionless in the best of ways. So we're going to talk about anything and everything. I think we're both pretty much not just movie guys, but pop culture in general guys. So we'll hit on everything.
I can't wait until I get into a full wrestling episode.
If you want to talk like,
wait for you to take off that week.
You can do it. You can't go from. You can go pre 2001 because after 2001 I kind of lost my bearings there. But anything if you want to talk about the best barbershop interviews when Marty Jannetty kicked Shawn Michaels through the window. No, other way around.
Oh my God.
Shawn Michaels kicked Marty Jannetty through the window. I'm all for it.
Thank you. I was about to say no, don't say that.
Yeah, I was wrong. So.
All right, man. This has been fun.
Yeah, man. Until next week, I guess we are out of here.
Until next week, we're out of here. We'll see you guys soon. Later.